Okay, cool. So we're recording now. We'll plan to make it public, but if anything gets said that you think, oh my God, that shouldn't be public, let me know right then and we'll stop the recording right then and we'll start another one so we can edit it. But if we don't stop the whole way through, then are you okay with making it public at the end?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And again, at any time, just say private, we'll pause, we'll talk privately, then we'll come back, we'll start recording it. But if when we're in public mode, you're like, wait a second, I just mentioned somebody's name and I'm not sure if they want to know or have that be public, just let me know. And then that's where, if you don't let me know, then it's really hard to find that in the video. But if we cut the video right then and start a new one, then I can just chop the end of that and get what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, okay, cool. I appreciate it. And I appreciate it being, like a new experience to be operating in this way, but you'll understand by the time we're talking, where it's all going and why we want to record so much. But just to say what I was just sharing about, I moved and, I needed support recently, and I'm going to share more about the move with you privately, but the, the message that you wrote to me, when you shared that you wanted me to know that you're with me energetically, like I've known that for a long time. And, nothing you would have done in this moment would have, it reinforced it. It had me know that you are aware of it, like I am aware of it. But I want you to know that I've felt our energetic kinship, forever, basically, even though there's been so many years that we had been, not in communication. I felt it with you every time I've connected with you. There's never been a time I felt out of energetic alignment with you, at a really, really high level, like not just like normal. Like that's the thing. And that's the reason that we're talking right now, because you are at the center of the Uniting for Action universe right now, as you should be, because you are holding the energetic alignment that I am holding, that I want to see this whole world, built out from, and you want to see this whole world built out from as a foundation. We both are so clear that the foundational systems don't, we don't have to live with those systems.
Yeah.
There's nothing forcing humanity to keep clinging to all of these broken, destructive systems in our world, right?
Yeah.
So I really, really honor and appreciate that. And I appreciate how we've been coming at that same consciousness from these different directions, at times overlapping, and really interesting tapestry of how we're different humans, projecting it differently into the world, but energetically we're in alignment around that. It's just our different experiences and talents and all that have it come out in different ways, right? That's the way that I see it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're entering a phase where it just we have no choice but to change the systems, and the systems are not working. So we have to. And yeah. It's the time to redesign.
Totally. And I really appreciate, your resonance that you shared, as you read the entire document. There's not a lot of people that have yet taken the time, that are in the consciousness space to read that entire document. That's the thing. And that's part of like the commitment to this, right? And understanding like we have to put in the work to make something like this happen. It doesn't just happen without a lot of committed people putting a lot of effort into, creating something new. We want to create the whole world. Like people can't get that with no effort, right? So I really, again, honor and appreciate that you're in there doing the work. You get it. And I'm going to share with you, as you requested, what the technology looks like and where we're at technologically, as well as the bigger picture of what all of this leads to and how we use it. And I'm just going to take, just a couple minutes before we dive into the technology, because I want to, fulfill your desire to see what you've been envisioning. You want to see, how it works and all of that. And also want to share with you some latest up to the, minute evolution of my thoughts and where I'm at the moment. And that is, I'm really, really focusing on conscious evolution. And I'm going to share, I shared it just a little bit. That's the thing, is things that are just like one chapter and one volume of the 10 volumes you looked at are really a whole volume or more by themselves. You know, that's the thing. This will at some point, and also just to put a little, you know, point on that so you understand, I'm not going to actually physically write all of those books the way people in the past have written books. I'm going to take what I'm sharing with you and what I'm sharing with everyone else, and I'm going to run it through the artificial intelligence the way that we're going to train it in order to output a book format of the thoughts, basically, and not just a book format, but a website format and all that sort of thing. And that's where it gets into the thought maps. And we're going to talk about the thought maps really soon, because again, that's a really important part of all of this and why all of this is so revolutionary. Because when we start to have our own thought maps and compare our thought maps with friends and prospects and brands and all that sort of thing, that totally changes how we interact and why we interact with things. So that's a really fundamental concept. But to go back to what I was saying in terms of the intentional, the conscious evolution, intentional evolution, we are right now, we're going to share different thoughts about different things, right? So for just as one example, you were asking about, you know, how does the 10% commission work, right? Between a supporter or that a connector receives between a supporter and a seeker. So as I share whatever thoughts I have about that with you, we're going to actually chop that portion of the conversation and put it on a page with some tags, you know, around commissions and whatever other tags it should have. And then, you know, we're essentially constructing our thought map with these different thoughts, right? But by placing it there, it becomes more than a conversation between you and I. It's an invitation for the rest of the world to come and join the conversation about it. So traditionally, you know, I could only evolve that concept of what are we going to do around the commissions as much as I could keep figuring it out. Right? As much as I could talk to you and I could talk to somebody else. And as long as I'm trying to figure it out, you know, like I'm taking feedback and then I'm creating a system that is part of a, you know, a system and a business and all that. That's the traditional way that we address things, right? Are you following me with that? Because it's kind of a fundamental concept and I want to make sure you're following. So I can say it again a different way or just tell me what you're getting from what I'm saying right now.
So you're posting the conversation on a website so other people can chime in on that conversation.
Yes. Pardon me if I get red lips. You have to tell me because my friend just made a smoothie for me and I have to drink it because it's so nutritious and it's so amazing. So I apologize. Okay. Let me take one more. Let me take one more big sip. Let me pause real quick so I don't have to have like red all over my face all the time in this. Okay, so yeah, you mentioned something offline that we'll get back to, but just to continue my thought for a moment, yes, it allows others to chime in on the conversation, but what it also allows is it allows the evolution to start evolving into all possibilities all at once. Because once you start to make it public, then some people think this about it, and some people think this about it, and some people think this about it. And as you start to group those people that are thinking different ways about different things, then they have collective resources amongst them, and combined with experts around that and creative people, and there can be a whole process for groups of people to align around a certain way that they'd like to see it go forward or evolve, and they'll be able to. And there'll be many different options around that whole situation. So as a society, we start to hyper evolve into every direction simply because we have a structure to be able to contain the conversation that's happening, where it just naturally evolves through everyone. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, I think I would have to see the structure of the software to understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Because right now it just seems too like all over the place for me to grasp, and it seems too broad where I can't understand how that would work and become organized. So I think I need to see what the software does.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, because that would make it clearer for me.
Okay, cool. Let's start with that. So I'm going to show you the software. And the other thing that I'm going to mention is that the whole part that I just talked about, the conversational part, is a separate part from the initial part that the software contains now. So I'm going to show you. The software contains the part that you're asking about between the supporters, the seekers, and the connectors. Okay. And I'm going to show you where the conversations come on top of that. But the reason that, it's set up, well, let's just dive right into it and talk about, why it's set up that way and all of that. So let me bring it up here. Okay, great. So here we are. So this is the mission control panel. So this is what it looks like as a prototype. So also the first thing I should say in terms of you're asking about the readiness of the software and all of that sort of thing. This is a prototype, simply to show what we're going to be able to do as we build it all out. So there's 2 launches essentially of the software that I'm working towards right now. The first is the alpha launch. So the alpha launch is where I'm going to add some of the functionality that I'm going to describe to you. I'm going to show you where it's going to be added to what you're seeing now. And then also put a database on the back end that'll be able to manage the simultaneous users just for the initial users. And the very initial users are going to be the 33 Realm of Empowerment launch supporters, as I mentioned to you and offered to you. And then there will also be other, launch supporters that will come on, but those are the initial users of the system to be able to start, creating reality, generating machine, sharing, how they support, and then being found within the realm of empowerment under the different tags and that sort of thing. But to get back to the foundational system itself, this is the mission control panel. This is where you add, so this is the first reality generating machine I've added to my mission controls panel. This is the creating the Uniting for Action system. And then this is where so everything, just to remind you, everything that is an intention or an action can be broken down into the nano actions, okay? So what we do is we take a goal or objective. I want to create the Uniting for Action system, and I start breaking it down into the nano actions that have to happen for that to happen. So one of the things that has to happen is I have to assemble the legal team. So that's a nano action under that nano action, but that also has nano actions underneath because this icon is here. So when I hover over the icon, then it shows me the nano actions under that. And if this one had nano actions under that, it would be another branch of the tree and that sort of thing. So that's the way the nano actions break down into nano actions that break down into nano actions until you get all the way down to something that's indivisible, like this has to be looked up or this has to be typed or, whatever it is, right? So this is how we systematize society. And before, even getting to all the things that you have questions about in terms of, the commerce and all of that sort of thing, an important thing for you to get at this point is regardless of how any of that other stuff works, our whole society is about to get systematized because I'm showing society how we can systematize it and how different it is from living in a systematized world, but compared to living in the world we are now, where everything is just a jumbled mess, basically. So I'm going to explain that along the way, but I want to share that with you so that I understand you're very interested in that other part of it that you're talking about. That is an important part of the system in terms of how the commerce works and all of that. But again, whatever criticisms, thoughts, whatever doesn't work for you, that becomes part of a conversation where that gets to evolve into a system that you like, that you get to use, and a system that another person likes that they get to use. But there's a path for the evolution because we're hosting the conversation and we're allowing the entire world to come in and co-create it with us. You get what I'm saying? This isn't about Jared figuring out all the answers. This is about creating a framework that allows the entire world to start contributing to all the time, knowing what the best is of everything. That's really the bottom line. is that there's no reason that we can't, for everything that we do, break it down into all of these parts, that when we are doing that, then we're collecting data on, this is the way that Eva did it, this is the way that Jared did it, this was the faster way, this was the cheaper way. When you have data points across hundreds, thousands, millions of attempts at the same thing, then you have really, really good data about what's going to be the optimum way for you to do it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
And this is where on your control panel, you can change. Do I want it faster or slower? Do I want it cheaper or, you know, more expensive? Do I want the quality high? Or, you get what I'm saying? You get to create your own realities by tuning buttons and then having the optimum way for it to get done to match up with the resources that you have to create it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sort of. Yeah, it's yeah, I haven't seen enough to really understand, but
I get
I've
what you're
read
saying.
everything. I've read everything, and I just, yeah, I need to see more of like
Okay.
what the, I'm a very visual person. So even though I've read everything and I get it and I understand the intentions behind it, I just need to see, yeah, the structure.
I understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure that you understand that I'm not trying to show you like the answer that'll get this job done for anything. I'm trying to show you the first draft that the entire world will try to give you the best answer possible. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're looking for best, like, does this work? Did Jared figure this out? It's kind of irrelevant, because what we're doing is we're declaring to the world, Jared hasn't figured this out. Who has a better solution? You know, and then people start giving solutions, and then, you know, you're in the conversation, other people in the, you get to direct your own part of the conversation the way you want. I'll bring you back into the system, but I just want you to get, this isn't about, and I'm very proud of a lot of amazing first drafts that I've created on a lot of systems to show society how different things can be done. But I'm not attached to, I have no illusions that any one of them will resemble themselves at all when they evolve into the highest state of what humanity can co-create together. Do you get what I'm saying? But I'm really excited that I've created a framework that can start to happen, you know, around everything, about everything. So that's kind of what I want to get across to you, because I don't want you to get too caught up on any of the solutions you're seeing today, because especially if you have ideas about ways they could be better, different, whatever, that's awesome, because your feedback is going to allow people who share your opinion to align with you and find you and start to work with you and others. You know, you'll say, I think it should be more like this to be in energetic alignment with what I feel. And when you declare whatever you declare, now someone can say, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. And now you've got 1,000 people saying me too, that I would give, you know, this amount of money to have this system. Oh, look, all together we can build this system. So now let's build that option. You get what I'm saying? Within a framework that allows all of you to have it work exactly the way that you want to. That's really kind of the magic of it, is we're creating a whole framework that we're all creating solutions for ourselves all the time collectively, because now we're finding each other, combining our resources, understanding how we can best use our resources together and creating something. So it just accelerates the evolution constantly. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, and if I understand what you're saying, I'm seeing it not being in alignment for me because of the energetic nature of what it would take to get it to that place, that where I'm in my path right now is I know exactly what I want to create. I have that, and it would be great to have, you know, collectively find a network with the people that are wanting to do the same. Yes. And there are already systems and softwares that do what you're describing, that already are established and working.
I would love to know. I'd love to know what they are, if you have any.
The team building, team working sites that, you know, once you have your creation, you do break it down into nano steps. There's project management, there's networking, everybody collaborates together. Asana is a great example. So,
right. So that's
systems like that. So that's what I'm trying to understand is what is this, what is the, to create the source of everything for everyone. is so huge and so broad that I feel like it takes it out of the reality groundedness of what is really possible right now and what can be accomplished right now. Because if you try to do everything for everybody, I feel like it's going to get lost in the ethers in a way. And we have a limited time frame to really get stuff done. Like we're up at the breaking point, which is probably why you're feeling that energetic pull to put this out there now and get people involved, because we are at that critical point in stage and we do need systems that work. But if we're spending our time trying to all collaborate and figure out systems and design systems, like for me, there might be people that's what's in their alignment to do that. Like I'm like, I figured out a system, I need to go and create and launch it. And it's a new way to live on the planet. And how do we live in transforming the way we live in along with Mother Earth, and shift the whole economic system of what it's like to live in community, but yet have your sovereignness at the same time and be fully sustainable and regenerative. So like I have a streamlined focus. So I'm looking at this through those eyes, and I cannot like deter my energy from my path. So I'm like, okay, how does this serve that goal, which will serve the planet? And this is like one area, one of billions of areas of the planet. So yeah, I don't know if you want to share this, but this is like really.
Of course I do. No, this is exactly what I want to share. These are the hard questions that, spawn the conversation. Okay. And again, I'm glad you're asking, because then your answer doesn't just come from Jared. It comes from 100 people or 1,000 people. This is the answer. And I can change my answer, and everyone can change their answers by seeing everybody. Oh, this is what. Oh, I didn't. You get what I'm saying? If we're actually, and I know you can't see the systems yet, and it's totally fine. But I'm just sharing with you conceptually what's going to happen, because we have technologies that can do this, so it's just a matter of stringing it together. And I want to acknowledge that when we're especially pre-alpha, it may not at all be the time for you to be involved with the Uniting for Action. Maybe it's at the alpha launch or after the beta launch, and the tools are fully ready for you to use. So I want to first just acknowledge that with what you just said. But I also just want to share with you that in terms of where this is going, okay, so where all these conversations are happening, all this is that this is going to where you and I are having the conversation in real time, and the AI is processing our words in real time to actually give us a heads up display of the thoughts that are coming out of our mouth and all the branches that other people have taken this specific thought to. So we don't even have to speculate on what other people, we're tuned into the whole world of thoughts around this very thing that we're talking about. And with that feedback, we can start to steer our conversation as well with the augmented understanding we have of the collective global brain of information that we're tapped into. You get what I'm saying? Like all that I'm describing is actually doable with all of our current technology. So like if we could be having, this capability to have augmented thoughts in real time and be tapped into this whole collective global brain, and how much that could make us more efficient and just everything, just changes the whole experience of humanity. You get what I'm saying? So that all of this is going to happen. Like I could have whole big parts. The whole supporter, seeker, connector thing could totally fail, and it could be a totally different structure. And I'm totally open to that. I want the best of whatever. There will be like competing systems, because it'll never be one. There'll be some people that want this and some people that want this, and people have choices. But we're going to start to operate in a society where we're existing at the limits of what humanity is capable of in every single thing that we do, because we're tapped into the whole collective knowledge base of how everyone else has already done it. You get what I'm saying? Like this is such a fundamental shift for society. I want, again, whether I have any pieces that work for you right now or not, it's totally fine, but I think you get that when we're operating at the level that I just described, and those of us that care about things like stopping the rainforest getting cut down and stopping, all the pollution and all these different things, when we have a system that allows us to come together and envision what is possible, you know, when 1 million people are working together with all of the nano actions down from there and all that, that is not happening in our society. Asana, and I mean, there are systems that are going to help, and all of those are going to be APIs, just like with Slack, that they plug in, and they're providing their service. You're not going to stop using Asana. Asana is going to want to exist in this world. They're going to have their place in this world, all of them. You get what I'm saying? It's the framework that allows all of this to happen, because all of this is possible right now. It's like, okay, well, some people can choose not to build it and be a part of it. I'm just looking for the people that do want to be a part of it and want to build this thing, because all we have to do is build it. So that's really, you know, where I'm at. And I just want to assure you that over time, you'll find everything that you're looking for as the collective global brain, you know, builds out, and you're finding the alignment energetically with what you're looking for, right? I'm not attached to any solutions. I've only created the best way that I can. And now I'll show you the, you know, the software and how it works, and explain to you why I did it this way. But then, you know, you get to share like where it doesn't work, what other ways could be, all of that. You get to help intentionally evolve the conversation very directly, because essentially the only branches that are going to be there right now are mine and yours, you know. But you get to start claiming new territory and having conversations pop up around your thoughts. You get what I'm saying? This is how we intentionally evolve, is that until you lay a thought out there that other people start, you know, layering on and having a conversation around, we can't collectively build around it, because it hasn't, you get what I'm saying? It's not happening. The structure isn't there. So I've said enough. Do you have any other questions or comments before we dive into the software now?
No, you know, I'd love to see what you've created. I know you've been working a long time on this. So
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate, you know, you being the person here that I'm sharing this with, and having your perspective. I really honor and appreciate your perspective, especially as you're saying, you know, that there are pieces that you're not in energetic alignment with. It, you know, it kind of surprises me a little bit after we talked about all the energetic alignment, but it really intrigues me and makes me excited to get your feedback. So here are the nano actions again. And so these two have nano actions under them. That's why they have these arrows, but these don't. So these are just nano actions that need to be accomplished, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a nano action really quickly so you can understand how that works. So we're here on the mission control view, okay? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to be able to add a nano action. So this is the mission control view. This is where this becomes central. This is the manage the nano action view. These are the 4 views that are like the primary views or apps right now that are functional. And then the edit the action, and then see the story. So mission control, manage the nano actions, edit the action, and see the story. So we're going to go into manage the nano actions for creating the Uniting for Action system. And let's go ahead and add something like really, oh, I'm sorry, we don't add it up there. So we're going to add something that's really broad, like addressing the commerce aspect, since that's essentially what we're talking about. So we have to address commerce. Okay, so now that we've added this nano action, now again, we can move it up and down within the reality generating machine in terms of where we see it. We can move it just to go back to the mission control view, just to remind you, you know, where it shows up now. So now, you know, this is where it shows up, right where I put it into the reality generating machine, okay? And it's now red, as you see. And the reason that it's red is because that has to do with the scoring app. So this is the scoring app, and this is how you can increase your score. And so increasing your score is using the system to be able to complete this nano action, because in order to complete a reality generating machine, let me just explain this one part, because this is not explained a lot in the text that I shared with you. In order to create a reality generating machine And let me show you the visual as I'm saying it, because you mentioned your visuals, so don't take
Yeah,
away the
thanks.
visuals. Don't take away the visuals. So here's the reality generating machine. Okay, here are all the nano actions underneath it. In order to actually accomplish this reality generating machine, once you've broken it down into all the necessary components that have to be fulfilled in order to create the end result, you have to create agreements with some entity, some person or business or whatever, that's going to handle that particular nano action once you've broken it down to a nano action that somebody needs to get done, right? Either you need to do it yourself or you need somebody to do it for you in order to get that part done in order to have the whole thing work. You get what I'm saying? Like if you have pieces of, if you have nano actions identified that are not necessary, that's totally fine. But once you break it down to all the necessary nano actions, like I'm going to start a new business online. So I'm going to get a new website. I'm going to photograph the products and I'm going to shoot some video and then get the video edited. Okay. And so if if those are all of your necessary steps, if you need to take photos, then you don't have a functional system until the photos are taken, right? Like there are certain things that, like, if they're not done, the system doesn't work, right? So with the reality generating machine, the idea is that you're breaking it down into the necessary components that need to get handled so that in order to have the result that I want, I need to get every one of these handled. And if there's 100 nano actions and 99 get handled, but this one doesn't, and it prevents the whole thing from working, then I've just wasted my time on the 99 other ones because in the end, I've ended up with a system that doesn't work. Do you get what I'm saying? It really makes it really, do you want to say something about that or what are your thoughts?
No, I'm listening.
Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you understand? Like if you can design the system a different way with different nano actions that you can accomplish it differently, then that's the opportunity. Like I can't get somebody to fill this role. How can I get the whole thing done without this role getting filled? Then you redesign the system, you put in new nano actions, and then you get those nano actions handled. You get what I'm saying? But in the end, you can't just leave things undone and expect the results that that you need in order to create the outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes it really, really clear, because part of what we're going to end up doing in our lives is spend a lot of time just making decisions about what reality generating machines we're committing to. Like, I want to get this done. I want to get this done. You're going to be a sea of what you want done. And you have to decide, am I willing to pay this much for this? Am I willing to pay this much for this? Am I willing? And not just in dollars, but in time, in energy, and relationships, and expertise, and all of those different categories are all currencies that you have within the system. So there is a monetary aspect, but there are all the other currencies that can be defined. Okay. And then the system will allow you to decide where, it's basically, those are just different knobs on the control panel, right? Because some people will do it for you only for money, and some people will do it for you in exchange for being introduced to this person, right? So there are all kinds of ways that you can get things done beyond money. I want to make that clear as we're talking about this. Does that make sense?
Yes, in concept, yes.
In concept. And that's not programmed into the system right now. And I'm not going to do the programming for all the currencies either. I'm putting it out there so the people that are going to program that part understand how to program that part, or to be in a conversation about a better way to do it. You get it? You know, or many better ways to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, but here is what's here now. And so now that we have the addressing the commerce, let me show you how we create this result. So for addressing commerce itself, really, we need to have more nano actions underneath it, because that doesn't break it down at all. But for the purpose of showing you how this app works with the scoring system, we've identified the nano actions. So now we've got a score of 1. Okay. In order to start moving up the scale, the next thing we need to do, or should do, or can do in order to move up our score is post what we're seeking or post what we're supporting. So now that we've defined that we're addressing commerce, Like if there was just like one person that could show up, that could be the CEO of commerce and manage the whole thing to create the whole thing, like that would be, something we could say that we're seeking. But, in most cases, it's going to be a lot more specific where you say, I need a video editor who can get this done, in 5 days for either this amount of money or some other currency. Okay. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
This is core to the questions that you are asking about. How does it work with the connector and the supporter and the seeker? So I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions around this, because this is the core part of that. I've talked a lot about a bunch of other things to give you more context, but this is where we've got the interactions happening. So the first step is to declare, hey, this is what I'm seeking. Here's the nano action that I need to get done, and this is who I'm seeking to get it done. I want somebody that's in alignment with this, that does this, that does this, and that's what you do. And alignment is an important thing. I can't spend a lot of time, although I'd like to, because when we have our choice as a seeker of all of the supporters who are showing up to, supply what we're looking for in exchange for the currency that we're offering, we only want to support the ones that are in alignment with us in principle. Like we don't want to give our money to somebody that's giving their money to cut the rainforest down. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like all the ways that supply chains are opaque now, and we're giving our money to brands and we don't know all the bad things they're doing with our money. This system evolves us beyond that. This system rewards transparency so that in the future, all businesses will be transparent and we'll be able to track our dollars multi-generations down the line of how we're impacting the world. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And a lot of our choices, therefore, in terms of like, we're seeking this, and here's this person showing up to say they'll do it for us, and the price is right and the quality is right, but they support this thing over here that, we don't want to give them our money for them to send our money over there. You get what I'm saying? So this is
Yeah,
what's
can
that?
we pause it real quick? I have
Yeah,
to, I
yeah.
have to
Yeah.
check in.
Hold on
Hold
a
on one
second.
second.
Okay, cool. So thank you
Mhm.
for sharing all of that. I really appreciate it. And so what I was saying is that the system right now is not in a condition to be, let's say, even appealing to a large percentage of the population. It's still a small percentage of the population that this is the right time to hear the right information to say, wow, I want to help get this alive in the world type of thing. So, and as I've shared, I really, really want to make sure as I'm going forward with all of this, that I'm creating every opportunity for the people that I love and respect and appreciate and want to support in the world. So this is, from here on, it's just the open invitation to you, anytime, any place, if it ever feels, right, that I just want to make sure that I'm sharing the invitation with you and the people around me. But again, going back to what we talked about, our energetic alignment, I truly hope and expect at some point that there'll be an energetic alignment, that we've evolved sufficiently to be able to be resonant right off the bat with you, right? So
Mhm.
I look forward to that. And, again, it's the open opportunity at any moments in time for you to drop in comments, thoughts, this doesn't work for me, why this doesn't work for me, to be able to have people respond to it, right? So and that's what I'm saying about the evolution is without your critical feedback, nothing ever goes off into that branch because everyone else is just going on the other branches. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
only when there is a diverging opinion or judgment or, analysis of it that then that can even be addressed. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
why I want to record everything, because to me, nothing is, bad or negative. It's all just another step in the evolution, right? And we need all of those contrary steps or steps in other directions, especially if we're headed in the wrong direction about something, right? So,
Mhm.
so that's basically it. So again, I totally honor and appreciate where you're at and where your focus is. And, I'm excited to, keep dropping back in as we do, whenever we do, as it's, magical. I still want to, continue the conversation around the enlightened thing.
Millionaires Club.
Yeah, I didn't
Mhm.
know if you wanted to say it publicly. Yes, the Enlightened Millionaires Club. So, do you want to just share the name? Is that okay, or do you want to cut that out?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, yeah.
Yeah.
Enlightened Millionaires Club is the name,
Yes. The
but
Enlightened Millionaires Club, the awesome Enlightened Millionaires Club that is, been in hibernation for a while, and now we get to
Mhm.
continue the conversation around that. So we'll do that. And then, again, around Uniting for Action, it's just there with an open, invitation and welcome to you at any point. And then, we'll just keep evolving and keep going.
Awesome, Jared. I look forward to seeing the evolutions, and I will be supporting from the Ecotopia realm as I'm diving fully into that. And that is 100% my focus, because as we all know, we have to stay focused on what we want to manifest. So
I totally get that. And because of that, do you want to share anything publicly now about Ecotopia with this to be able to help steer people into what you're doing and what you're up to? And do you want to create those connections in this video right now? It's up to you.
Sure. I mean, they can check out the vision at ecotopiaranch.com, and that's where the headquarters is in Valley Center, California, where we are test modeling different types of community development. And we went through a social experiment and social structure for 2 years, and I feel really confident that we've got that down, and we're working with some developers of domes to do some prototyping for the homes. And now I am in the stage of land acquisition and investors and grants and social capital raising and all of that. So I'm working with other people as well who have similar visions and projects. And so I have a history of over 20 years in real estate and real estate development, doing high-rise luxury condominium, but vertical, basically cities. So we are, I've taken all that and said, how can I take that and make it regenerative and spread out a little bit on the land and make it like a little micro community. So working on that right now. So that's where my focus is.
It's so amazing. And it's just, reminding me of our conversations and even the presentation at your house. I'm flashing back to, when was that? It was a long time ago.
2009, I believe. So that was quite a while ago. And that was, we had called it City of Light, and it was working with Jacques Fresco's land, which was the Venus Project, and they were going to sell the land to us. We were in negotiations, but then yeah, he unfortunately, his daughter got cancer and moved in, and he decided he wasn't going to sell. But that was the land site we were holding the vision in space for, and had our Council of 12, which you were an initial member of. And so that was a really powerful vision holding and space holding, and that vision just continued, and the names morphed, and now it's Ecotopia. So yeah,
So
it's
awesome.
still going.
Exactly. We're still evolving. We're still on the same path. I totally
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate the energy you're holding for that and all you're doing. And, super excited to circle back when we have, something that supports you in the energetics that you our alignment with you and everything. So just super excited for our connection and super grateful for our, who you are for me in this lifetime, and and how we get to continue from here.
Definitely. I look forward to seeing what's the the weaving and of the paths.
Exactly.
So thank you.
Exactly. Awesome. All right. Great to be with you, Eva. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Appreciate you. See you later.
Appreciate you too.
Thanks. Bye.